Today I'm going to be featuring the Country Club Designer Series paper. And even if you're not a golfer, you want to stay on and watch, because I'm going to show you how you can feature both sides of the same sheet of Designer Series paper. And I've got 3 different types of cards that I'm going to make with you. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Country Club suite, it is in our mini catalog, and the stamp set is called Clubhouse, and it's got a wonderful set of coordinating dies and matching dies. Some match the stamped images exactly, and others are there to coordinate or enhance the other pieces. There also is a wonderful embossing folder called Absolutely Argyle. So this would be great for anybody. It doesn't have to be just golfers. And then the suite also has a couple of embellishments. The Clubhouse wood embellishments. And I want to say there's several sheets of that, and you can stamp right on these or color them with your Stampin' Blends marker as well. And then it has this wonderful set of twine, Country Club twine, and it includes Real Red, Black, Night of Navy, and Garden Green. So this is a great product all by itself. You don't necessarily have to use it with any of the Country Club products. It is a great standalone product. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to show you ways that you can enjoy both sides of Designer Series paper on one card. So I'm going to show you a few, and then we're going to make one, and then I've got more to show you and make, show, and make. Okay, so by the end of this, you'll see 3 different card making demonstrations. So here's the first one. This is all die cut. Nothing here is stamped, just die cuts. Okay, and this is one side of the Designer Series paper, and this is the other. So my card base is actually standard size, 5.5 and an 8.5, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4 on the long side, but it's made with Designer Series paper instead of our usual cardstock card base. Okay, and then I just put some plain cardstock here for writing or stamping sentiments. Here's another one. It's got lots of different golf theme logos and shapes and plaids and patterns and things on the one side, and then a gray argyle on the opposite side. And one thing I want to show you here, I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see this. Just realized there's a dimensional here that still has its backing on. It's not sticking down. There we go. But what I've done is cut some of these. These 2 I cut with paper snips directly from a different piece of Designer Series paper. And then there's some die cuts that I used to cut out the others. But I just popped a few of them up just for a bit of interest. And then I stamped and die cut my happy birthday greeting right there. So it's kind of busy on the outside, but it does have some fun interest with the raised portions. And then again on the inside, I did some layers of plain cardstock and stamped a sentiment. And then here's one more. So we've got the golf balls and tees on one side of the DSP and this beautiful navy plaid on the opposite side. So I'm going to make this one with you right now. So let me put this over here, our sample over there. I went ahead and pre-cut all my pieces. I decided I was going to make the very same card, and I thought, no, I need to change things up from the samples. So I'm just folding it the opposite direction. So I have the golf balls and tees on the inside and the plaid on the outside. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment for the inside. My white cardstock measures, I'm going to put it here so I can see better. The white cardstock is 4 1/4 by 3 inches. And then the Night of Navy cardstock layer is 1/8 inch larger. So that makes it 4 3/8 by 3 1/8. Okay. So I'm trying to stick with pretty standard size measurements. One reason I like to use that 1 1/4 by 3, 4 1/4 by 3, is that you can split a piece of white cardstock down the center vertically 4 1/4, and then you get 6 pieces of this size. So here's the inside. I usually build my outside of my card first, but since I have everything prepared, I thought I'll just go ahead and set that down. Okay, now I'm going to do some coloring on this with my Stampin' Blends markers. And you can see what I did on this one. Okay, so I'm going to give this gentleman some khaki pants. I always think of that State Farm insurance commercial when I say khaki pants. Well, what are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? And he says, khakis. Just still makes me laugh. And then I'm filling in with the light crumb cake. So I use dark crumb cake and light crumb cake Stampin' Blends for the khaki pants. These images, or this image, is very easy to color with the blends, and they already give us a lot of shading and dimension in the actual stamp image itself. Okay. Alrighty, so there's the khaki pants. I think those look pretty good. And then I'm going to give him a navy blue shirt. Again, I'm putting in some accents with the dark shade of navy blue. I'm just going over some of those markings that are already in the clothing, in the stamp, okay? How many of you have Stampin' Blends and love using them? I like all of my coloring utensils, but there's just something neat about the Stampin' Blends. There is a little bit of a learning curve with the Stampin' Blends, but my rule of thumb is use the dark shade to put in some accents, and then use the lighter shade to fill in. Okay, I'm still just 2 of you. My goodness. But I'm so glad you're here. You made my day. Okay, and his red cap. Okay, now I'm going to add some shading. And I'm going to, let me pull in some scrap paper. I'm going to do this with sponge daubers, and I've picked out 2 colors. I've got garden green for the grass, and I've got balmy blue for the sky. And I'm going to start with the grass. I've got my sponge dauber ready. Just tap it in the ink pad a bit. And then I'm actually going to start in a swirl motion off of the cardstock. And I'm actually going to go up a little bit so that the grass and the sky kind of blend into each other. Okay, the reason I said start off is you can kind of see those, like when you first put this down, you kind of get the blotchy circles. You can avoid some of that. And it's not a big deal if it is there. The other way you could do it is, I'm going to flip this over. You can go back and forth, starting off the paper and going across, okay? Hi Pam, welcome. It's a quiet night, just a few people tonight. Pam, the main focus tonight is using, giving you card samples, showing you card layouts where we can feature both sides of one sheet of designer series paper. So here's an example of that. So this card base is actually made from a piece of designer series paper, and I'm showing off both sides of that. Okay, so now I'm going to add in some balmy blue. The other one got darker than I really wanted it to, so I'm going to try to take some of that off. Again, starting off the cardstock. And just kind of swirling, and I'm going pretty light with the hand. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. What do you think? Okay, so we'll get rid of my scrap paper. So now I have that. I wanted this to stand out and sort of pop off the paper, so I actually am going to mount it on plain white cardstock first before I put it on the garden green layer. Okay, we've got a few more people on. Yay! I can't see who's all on. Okay. Awesome. Don't forget, you want to comment as often as you would like, because each time you comment, your name is entered into a drawing for the card I'm going to be giving away at the end of the night. Okay? And Pam, since you're just jumping on, I wanted to show you that I'm basically making the same card, but I'm just doing the opposite of what I've already done. Okay? So now I'm going to put this there. Oh, I think this looks neat. I actually like it better with the plaid on the outside. Pam, if your background didn't get dark enough, just go over it again with your sponge dauber. You can go over it as many times as you want to get the desired shade. Okay, and I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, of course, because that's what we do. I need to cut a couple in half here. Are any of you golfers or no golfers? Okay, this is looking sharp, I just have to say. All right, so there are those two cards, my sample and the one I just made, and all I did was change a little bit. On this one I have the plaid and the green on the inside, and here I put plaid and green on the outside. And here I've got the golf balls and tees on the inside with the Knight of Navy being a border against that black, or against the white. Okay, love them, love them. Okay, so let me put these aside and I'll go on to the next one. Okay, now this is also, I would consider, a fun fold card. The next two are. So I've just got a single-sided sheet of cardstock, and it's actually the Designer Series paper that is the mini card made from the Designer Series paper and featuring both sides. Okay, so there's one. And then here's one, and this is stamped and colored and then sponged. Okay, so the dimensions, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. So there's one. Here's another one. One side, on one sheet, one side has, let me think, 12, I believe 12, yes, 12 different images that are just simple drawings in black on white, and you can use them just like that, or you can add color to them. Color with color pencils, your Stampin' Right markers, aqua painters, blends, whatever you want. But I'm choosing on this one to just leave it black and white front. Okay, and there's the inside. So let's make one of these, and there is not a stamp of a woman golfer, but there is this image on the Designer Series paper. So if you are a golfer, you women out there are golfers, or you know of other women golfers, you can make something for them just like that. Okay, so now we're going to start with a 5.5 by 4 1/4 inch of basic black cardstock. Okay, and it's just a single side, it's not folded. To that, I'm adding a layer of Designer Series paper that measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So my black cardstock is the very same size as a standard finished card. 5.5 by 4 1/4. Okay, now here's an example of that paper. My Designer Series paper, I cut 4 by 6 inches. Okay, 4 by 6. And then I scored it at 3 inches on the long side, folded it in half. Now, one thing you want to be aware of is when you are using Designer Series paper with direction that is directional, meaning it goes a certain way for it to be correct. Okay, so you just have to, think when you're doing it, how am I going to do this so it's correct? Okay, and it's even when you're doing the inside, if this is your inside, if you're doing this on the outside and decide, oh, that's not correct, make sure that you pay attention to the directions on each of the cards, or Designer Series papers, I should say. So you're folded, it ends up measuring 3 inches by 4 inches. So I'm going to adhere this to a piece of black cardstock that measures 3 1/4 inch by 4 1/4 inch. And you're just going to layer it on there, and then you can just layer it to the front of that card. And I'm actually going to pop this one up on dimensionals this time. when I get to these edges around the outside, I just pull them off like that. Zero waste on your dimensionals when you either cut or tear off those outside edges to use. Okay, how quick and easy is that? Isn't it awesome? Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to write on this, so I've cut a piece of Whisper White cardstock that measures 2 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And I'll put this right in here. Just like that. Okay. The other thing I thought of is it would be super easy for us to put a strip of designer series paper, excuse me, a strip of designer series paper or cardstock right across the bottom so that you can tuck a gift card inside there. So it'd be great for Father's Day, a birthday, all kinds of things. Congratulations, retirement, anything you can think of, okay? So that's another fun card. How are we doing so far? What do you think? Are you enjoying these cards tonight? And of course, you know, we're using the Country Club theme and all its products, but you can do this, these card layouts and show off your favorite designer series papers, both sides of the designer series paper of your choosing. So I'd love to see what you all could come up with. So here's the last one I'm going to show you. Again, it's a mini card on a card front, okay? Thanks for sharing, Alice. Hi, Alice and Cindy. And who else joined us? Marty, thanks for joining. Beth Stein, thank you for being here. Okay, so again, I'm starting, and our last card was horizontal. This one I'm making vertical, or portrait position, if you want to call it that. I'm putting a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of designer series paper onto garden green cardstock that I cut to 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, so same standard size as our typical finished card. Then I've cut a piece of designer series paper, and this is the one where I'm featuring both sides of it. This has been cut to 3 inches by 6 inches, and then when it's folded in half, I have a 3 by 3 square. So I'm going to mount my 3 by 3 square onto garden green cardstock that I've cut to 3 1/4 inch square. So it's got a nice bright green border around it, okay? And this one I pushed up a little higher than center. This one I think I'm going to go right in the center. It's always fun to kind of play around with the position of your pieces. It would even be cute at the bottom. Oh, maybe I should do the bottom. Let me think about that. Yeah, I think I will put it on the bottom. My intent was to put it in the middle, but when I slid it down to the bottom, I thought I do kind of like that. Okay, so for the inside, obviously, we need a little something to write on. This piece measures 2 3/4 inches square. So you're not going to have a lot of room to write on this one. Some people like that. You can always write on the back side as well. Some people like that it's just a little bit, and it's great for a small sentiment. Thanks to everybody who shared tonight. I appreciate it so much. And oops, I didn't punch this out. This Happy Father's Day stamp with the Gulf, I guess I call it the Gulf crest, is part of the Country Club stamp set. Okay, it could be fine like that, but I decided I want to put it on a layer of Night of Navy, and I've used the Starburst punch for that. And this I'm going to pop up on dimensionals as well. So if you're like me and love designer series papers, but it's often difficult for you to choose which side of the paper to use on your cards, I've shown you 3 different card layouts where you don't have to choose just one side, okay? So we have these 2, okay? And again, this 3x6 piece folded in half is where we're featuring both sides of one sheet of cardstock. I showed you this one. We're again featuring the plaid with the golf balls and tees, and that's single-sided with the mini card on top. And here are the 2 others, very simple. And of course you could always add embellishments, but sometimes I just like plain, clean, simple. And this is an example of that. And then this was the sample I showed you. The designer series paper was used as the card base. Here is the same card, just switched up the inside and outside sides of the DSP, as well as the opposite colors of cardstock, but basically it's the same color. And then I made 2 more just like that. Carol, thanks you. I appreciate that comment. I'm glad you like the cards. Lisa Johnson, thank you for sharing. Marilyn, thanks for sharing. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Shar. Okay. Many of you are just jumping on now at the end of the video, which is no problem at all because you got a sneak peek. But the featured or the focus of the demonstrations tonight were cards where you can show off both sides of a sheet of designer series paper. So on these 4, I've used designer series paper as my card bases. Okay, so a fun twist on the cards to not have that plain inside and to be able to show off both sides. And I'll do another quick review and then we'll be finished. And I'll have to pick some winners. So this is a single mini card on just a card front. Okay. Also would be great to add a piece of cardstock or designer series paper and tuck in a gift card there. Yes, cute guy cards. You notice this one is female, and that is on that piece of designer series paper. But we have some more generic ones like this that could be given to female golfers as well. But if you're like me, I know more male golfers than female. But just great for everybody. And you can always switch out the sentiments. This is Happy Father's Day. You could give mom or a favorite daughter or daughter-in-law a card like this that says Happy Mother's Day or Happy Birthday or whatever. Congratulations. Okay. And here, the 3x6 designer series paper is where we're featuring both sides of the designer series paper. Okay, so that's all I have for tonight. Be sure that you Shar, thanks for sharing again. I appreciate that so much. So there were some lots of awesome cards in this live tonight. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope you most of all enjoyed learning 3 card layouts that you can use with any of your favorite designer series papers to be able to show off both sides of a single sheet of designer series paper. That way we don't always have to choose one over the other. Okay, I will be back on Thursday at 2 p.m. on my VIP group, Stampin' Piece VIP group. You just, if you're not a member, you just search that in Facebook and then request to join. And you're also welcome to invite other people to join the VIP group. And I will be posting a challenge on Thursday, so you'll definitely want to check in for that. Okay, have a great week. Thanks for spending part of your Tuesday with me. I appreciate you being here. Bye-bye.